environment, we'll adapt to our environment. Listen, God has figured out a way through the genes, through DNA. Now, what's interesting about DNA, I'm going to tell you something very fascinating about DNA. We have billions of character longs of DNA strands in our bodies that make up the blueprint of who we are. And what's fascinating is that the blueprint is the blueprint. You can't change the blueprint, but there can be alteration in the genomes. Now, for instance, in bacteria, they found that they can change bacteria into various forms. But the blueprint, the DNA of bacteria, is always the same. It will always be bacteria. So just because something may look a little different doesn't mean that it became a different species. Now, here's another thing I would talk about, you guys. And I know we got to come to a close, right? You only got about 10 more minutes left?
Less. Yeah.
Okay, 10 minutes or less. Let's talk a little bit about immaterial realities, because as we talk about evolution and creation, I think it's important that we dive into this. You guys, how do you know that the law of non-contradiction is true for everyone, everywhere, at all times? I mean, evolution, if we come from the universe, here's what Richard Dawkins, who is a well-known atheist, he talks all over the world, he's very, very well-known. Here's what he told everybody in his book. I think it's Garden Out of Eden, if I'm not mistaken. And I apologize if anybody's listening and they say, that's not his book. Well, it's one of his books. Here's what he says. He says, if we come from the universe, in other words, if we're evolved from the universe, then there are no purposes to anything. There are no cruels and kinds. There are no goods and evils. Only blind, purposeless, pitiless indifference. And you know something? I'm going to tell you something right now. I think that Dr. Dawkins is right. If we really did just come from the universe and not God, and God is out of the picture, then there are no purposes. What would be the purpose to anything? You got to remember what atheism is, you guys. And Marc, I know that you're not a full atheist, and please hear my heart on this. You're not a full atheist. However, you are on the argumentative side of atheists. Because what you're in a sense saying is, on one hand, I kind of want there to be a God that controls the universe, but on the other hand, I kind of see both sides of it. You're kind of a agnostic, if I can correctly term you in that way, Marc.
I never considered myself an agnostic. You know, I always considered myself a person of faith, but you know,
yeah. Okay, but you don't know. I mean, you told me that. You're honest.
I don't.
You're a very honest person. That's one thing I notice about Marc. When I talk to both Felix and Marc, they're very honest people. When they tell you they don't know something, they don't try to make it up, and I appreciate that about you guys. But here's what I'm going to say out of my heart, Marc. Okay, this is completely out of my heart. I really feel for your worldview. When you say possibly God or possibly evolution or a little bit of both, that is being inconsistent with reality, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work for anyone's reality, and it's not going to work for your reality when you enter into judgment, because God's going to look at you and say, "Be gone, I don't even know who you are." What's consistent with reality is that God and God alone has created the universe. He has sustained the universe, and he keeps it going. He has made, and it was involved in creation through the Trinity. He is involved in making it and sustaining it and keeping it going. Now, here's another aspect about creationism that most people don't talk about. It's called logic, morality, mathematics. How do we know those concepts exist? Because we use them, right? But how do we know that they are universal? In other words, I asked you guys earlier, if the law of non-contradiction is true for everyone, how do you know that? And why are you speaking for everybody else? How do you know? Maybe the law of non-contradiction is true in a different way for somebody on the other side of the world. I
think that would be the perfect place to just stop.
Okay.
For today, anyway.
We only have like 3 minutes left.
But I mean, hey, I'm more than willing to pick this up again on Monday.
Not Monday.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Friday.
Well, Friday.
I'll go back on Monday if you guys are on Monday.
Well, I mean, if we have if this is a continuation of a Fireside Chat, okay, I mean, and we're discussing anything.
All right, whatever.
Only because, well, unless something happens over the weekend, like generally does, where, Monday when it comes to writing a blurb for the show, I'll find something in politics or news that's noteworthy, okay? But usually what we find is the only time we ever really get to 2 hours is when we have a guest or someone speaking where it's not just Felix and I, because, Felix and I can exchange views and we'll be finished in 15 minutes, and then we spend the other 45 sort of repeating ourselves, hoping that somebody's going to call up.
That's not 100% true, but it's close. Listen, the whole reason I said that, not Monday, because Monday we usually are more secular, and
okay.
I don't know if the same audience would listen to us, but I don't know.
I guess the truth is in the numbers.
Yeah.
If we look at the numbers and see how many people come back to the pod and listen,
all right.
The only thing I could say, Chad, is read the blurb when we type it up and see what happens. If you want to call up,
we can maybe devote an hour,
or if you wanted to, devote some time to it, that's fine. We can do that. You know that.
Yeah.
Just
sure.
Send us an email and let us know that you'll be on, so we'll know to expect you.
We'd love to have you on.
Absolutely.
Obviously, anytime you want to be on, we're pretty open about that. But the only point I'm saying is I'd like to get some news and stuff in there on Monday. That's all. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just want to get some politics in there, and then go back to religion.
It's funny.
Okay.
Can you? Do you have an interest in politics or anything like that, or not really?
Not really. I'll be honest. I'm not a politician guy. I do love studying the end times, which is, but I'm not very good at it. I make more of a defense for the, in a general sense. I know a lot of deep things, but you know what I mean.
How about this? Do you find that ecumenical Christians, politicians, people like Ted Cruz and Rick Santorum, they are so
90 seconds.
They are so turned on by, the end of times and what's going to happen. I mean, it's almost frightening, to listen to them speak. I mean, you are a reborn Christian, okay, and I would much rather listen and talk to you because I think that you are more attuned to having a conversation and a discussion
60 seconds
than they are.
All right, listen, guys.
I think
we're running out of time. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'll bring my comments on Monday, and if you guys want to have a discussion, we can on Monday. That'll be fine.
Monday will be fine. I have no problem with that.
All right,
okay.
Chad, listen, have a great
I'll play it by
weekend.
ear. You
Monday's
two guys,
good.
give me a call,
let's
okay?
just set Monday, all right?
Okay, well, I'll certainly try. But, I mean, Friday I would love to try to be on again, too, if we can't finish on Monday. That'd be great.
Friday is a definite, okay?
Okay, I'll let you know if I can. It just depends on my week, but I'll definitely try.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Chad.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Chad. We're up to the last second, so I want to thank you all for listening to our show on behalf of the Reverend, the Dr.
10 seconds.